Chattanooga, Tennessee, David Toulis.
Welcome back to 92.7 Nuga Radio. This is Kevin Cherrick, and we're on the David Toulis Show. We're talking about your side hustles today. And I love this music. This gets us pumped. You should play this music every morning when you're starting your side hustle. I believe so much in the power of music because you've got to get yourself amped. I actually have a whole playlist on my Spotify that I call Entrepreneurship that I listen to that gets me pumped up and gets me really ready to do it. In fact, one of those is, this is a total aside. We're going to go down a lot of divergent paths here today with Kevin Cherrick. There's this Britain Got Talent show, and they've got this stuff on YouTube where it's these people come out, they do they sing their songs, and this one little 12-year-old girl sings this song from Wicked, and it is just the perfect anthem for an entrepreneur because it's all about saying no to the conventional wisdom. It's about following your own star. It's amazing. So music is so important. I love that so much. We're talking about your side hustle today. And right now we're talking about understanding what your personal quote why is. And you really have to know that because it's going to dictate the decisions you make around your side hustle and around what your goals are with that side hustle. Too frequently, we charge off into starting something because we got into a community that told us that that's what we should do, whether it be going to college or taking a certain degree or getting into a certain job, God forbid, marrying a certain person because that's what everyone said you should do. And it can be the same with your side hustle. You need to know yourself first to understand what your goals are, right? It's a cliche that if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter which road you take. Design your life, and then you'll be able to know what type of side hustle will best suit your needs. Some people say, if I'm not a billionaire, life's not worth living. That's going to dictate a particular set of decisions that might be inappropriate for someone else, even with the exact same idea. And this is something I've really been working on a lot myself with some of my own ideas, including Infinite Closet, because what do I really want and what are the different chances that I can be successful, right? If you're going to think in terms of startup entrepreneurship and I have some idea that's huge, right? I have the idea for Uber or Facebook or Google, and I think it can be that big. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to go down and take money and have equity partners who are very sophisticated, and they're going to dictate a set of decisions that's going to give me a very small chance of getting that big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. If you want to be a billionaire, it's probably what you got to do, right? There are certain things you have to do. On the other hand, if you say, do I want let's be really generous here, a 3% chance of being a billionaire, or do I want a 40% chance of making $200,000 a year? Which one would you go for? Now, we can all love the Instagram jet set lifestyle and the idea of living the life of James Bond with private jets and flying around the world. I would suggest that you might want to think about what control over your day-to-day schedule, freedom, and $200,000 a year, if you really need anything more than that. You know, Warren Buffett is the third richest man. Yes, Bezos is one, Gates is two, and Warren Buffett is three. Third richest man in the world. He says that the only thing he's got that's really a big ticket item that makes a big difference in his life is his private jet. And with NetJets now, you can get that much less expensively. And so when you think about a side hustle of what are your goals, you may not want to leave your career. There are a lot of real benefits to your day job, right? Again, you're inside of a business that already has product market fit, that has a lot of infrastructure, that allows you to develop a very deep level of expertise and become a subject matter expert. And that is actually something that you'll appreciate more as you delve into your side hustle and realize, I've got to be a jack of all trades here. There's a lot of benefits, actual corporate benefits of healthcare and insurance and all those different things. But What do you want to get out of your side hustle? Give us a call at 800-8949 and talk about what you want. As you start to think about it, the most common reason people start their own business is because they want to be in control. It's not because they want to make millions of dollars a year. It's because they want to have greater control over their day-to-day existence. When you think about how much time you spend in your day job, right? That's what you spend the vast majority of your life's energy is at work. Anywhere between 8, 9, 10 hours a day for 30, 40, 50 years. At my last business, I owned a gym in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was hiring a director of membership services is the title we came up for this position, and was interviewing some people. And one gal, I said, you know what? The greatest thing that I get out of having my own business is I get to choose who I work with. Are there coworkers at your day job that you'd prefer not to work with? If your side hustle ever takes off, and you may not want it to, we'll talk about that with your why. You get to choose who you work with. Even if it only stays a sole proprietorship and it's just you will have the opportunity to work with contractors, vendors who are going to teach you about whatever it is you need to fill in the gap. Because you're going to have gaps in your knowledge and expertise. And that goes back to the first reason to start a side hustle is the ability to learn. So you get to work with new people. And if it doesn't work out, you just stop working with them. You get all the flexibility you could possibly want. So think about, what is your perfect day? This is an exercise a lot of people will do is say, well, okay. Most people, the first thing that comes to their mind, my perfect days, my feet are in the ocean. I'm at a tropical beach. And actually, right, if you go forward 7 days, it's no longer your perfect day. We actually get a lot out of work, right? And so work gives us a sense of meaning, gives us a reason to get up out of bed. I actually don't want to be ever in a situation where I'm just golfing and sitting by the pool day after day after day. That's a meaningless existence. And so what do you really want? You probably want meaningful work that challenges you at the appropriate level. No one likes work that's so easy it's mindless, but not so challenging that you feel swamped. So you get the opportunity to learn, you get the opportunity to work with people you want, you get the opportunity to bring value into the world. And that's something that you can really get with a side hustle. There's a guy whose side hustle is he runs a blog about aquariums. That's not what my side hustle would be. I don't know anything about aquariums. I could care less about aquariums, but the guy makes $700 a month running a very ugly blog about aquariums. And that is highlighted in Chris Guillebeau's podcast, which comes out every day. It's about 8 minutes, called the Side Hustle School. Side Hustle School is the podcast and book, and you can check that out if you're interested. One of the things, the benefits of getting into some of these resources that I'm mentioning to you is it's going to open your mind up and say, wow, I had a really small picture of what business was, of what a career was, of what could make money. And you start to read things. And I think there's nothing more powerful than the idea of, if that guy or gal can do it, I can do it. Give us a call at 800-8949. Tell me about what some of your ideas are and what you're working on. I'd love to hear about it. Have you ever been in a tough situation, but been inspired by watching someone that frankly you thought you were better than, and they're able to do it? The first time I ever had this experience, I was rushing my fraternity in college, and it wasn't the most pleasant experience. Fraternities have a well-deserved reputation at times. And I just thought, well, if that guy can stick through this, I can. And that's a very powerful motivator for some people. Might not be for you. It was for me, to be able to talk about, if this person has a successful blog about aquariums that's got, I'm going to tell you, it's terribly designed. And we can start to throw out this perfectionist idea of, I'm not a designer. I don't have the right camera. I don't know how to set up a website. Not yet, you don't. And we understand that the internet allows us to develop a niche, which is so, so important. In fact, Christopher Lochhead just came out this week with a new book called Niche. And he came out with a phenomenal book a few years ago, all about category design and differentiation. But niching is just super, super important. This is Kevin Cherrick on the David Toulis Show. We're talking about your side hustles today, talking about understanding what you want to get out of it and understanding that the first thing you come with doesn't have to be your final hustle. There's nothing more powerful than saying, I'm going to invest 2 months and $200 and I'm expecting nothing out of this side hustle. If I get 3 viewers, if I get 1 customer, that's going to be amazing because your first hustle will inform and develop your second idea and you'll get better and better. In fact, a book put out by AEI, a think tank out of Washington, D.C., talks about that the average successful entrepreneur is successful in their 3.4 business. So they started more than 3, less than 4 businesses on average, right? Statistics are complicated. So dispel the myth that you have to hit it out of the gate full time, that you have to make $1,000 a month extra the first time. Understand that it's going to take a little bit of time, but you have to have what we call a bias for action. One of my inspirations in this lifestyle is a guy by the name of Ben Casnocha. He's written a number of books. He's got one called The Startup of You. And he talks about having a bias for action. This is potentially the biggest differentiator between someone who is successful and someone who is reactionary. And I think this really informs mental health, really. When all we do is react to things that come at us, it's depressing. When we start to put our mark on the world by going out and being proactive, then things start to happen for us. And all of a sudden you start to see people get lucky because they were very proactive and they were out there, right? And that goes back to what we talked about last segment with the opportunity to network and the opportunity to learn. All of a sudden you are engaging in the world and in your community in a different way, working to educate yourself and working to bring additional value to the marketplace. That's what you can do with a side hustle. 800-8949. This is Kevin Cherrick from Infinite Closet on the David Toulis Show, 92.7. David Heinemeier Hansson is a name you may not know unless you are a programmer. He goes by the DHH call sign, if you will, on Twitter. And he is from somewhere in Scandinavia, Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark. And he and his partner at a company that they started and founded called 37 Signals wrote this book called Rework, which actually blows up the existing conventional wisdom around business. And it's an absolute must read. It's available at the library if you want. You can get it on Amazon or wherever great books are sold locally. David, what's your favorite local bookstore? Do you have a bookstore that you love? There's one right down the street, and I'm blanking on it right now. I'll have to come find it. If you have a favorite bookstore, give me a call at 800-8949. David Heinemeier Hansson says, you've got to find your golden egg, and you've got all the time in the world to do it. What is the smallest positive step you could take towards getting action on the idea that won't go away? The first smallest step that I took with Infinite Closet, which is micro storage on demand, it involved a simple yellow legal pad. Went down to the store, bought myself a pack of 3 legal pads. I started to just get everything out of my head and down, right? My wife's a homeschooler, and she calls this written narration. You don't know anything until you can write it down, explain it to somebody else, because the next positive step I had to take was explain it to my wife. This is what I'm really thinking about and excited about. And then you start to get a little bit of feedback. Lots of people talk to their friends and family about what their ideas are. And I don't want to discourage that, but I wouldn't take their feedback to mean anything. Why? Why should we discount the opinions of our wife, our family, and our friends? A couple of reasons. One, if they are not your target market, their feedback is worthless. This is very important. Infinite Closet, which is micro storage on demand, we deliver and store and pick up storage boxes for people. If I tell this to someone who lives in a 4,500 square foot house on a 2-acre lot, and they tell me that's a terrible idea, I've got a basement and an attic and a barn out back, it doesn't mean that my idea is terrible. It means they're not in my market. And one of the things that you have to do with a side hustle or any business that you're running yourself is you have to protect your psyche, because it's easy to get bogged down in negativity even if the feedback is false. It's a false negative. You have to understand who your market is. And this is the whole point of having a niche, right? When you come up with an idea, the first thing you have to understand is, how small can I make my target market? And so we say, okay, well, my target market is going to be people who live in Chattanooga. All right, great. That's great. How can we make it any smaller? Well, who would need storage at the box level? 3 boxes worth of storage. It's all I want. I want it picked up and delivered from my house. How about people who live in all these apartments that are opening up downtown? And they're, expensive, and they don't have a lot of storage. They have under their bed and they have 1 closet. Do they have holiday decorations? Do they have winter clothes that they're not using right now that are just taking up space that they might want to repurpose for something else? Okay, great. Apartment dwellers in Chattanooga. How far down can you niche this? Well, turns out more women than men are interested in decluttering and having a minimalist lifestyle. So now it's female apartment dwellers in Chattanooga. Okay. Single female apartment dwellers in Chattanooga. Single female apartment dwellers in Chattanooga who are 35 or younger without kids. Now, I know that we have boxes that have people's 3-month-old clothes for their kids, and it's for the 3 to 6 month olds, and we're going to hold on to it for the next one. That could be a market, but it's not my beachhead market, which is what David Aulette talks about in his book, Disciplined Entrepreneurship. You have to determine for your idea what the beachhead market is going to be. Where are you going to start? You have limited resources when you start a side hustle. And so you have to take the magnifying glass out and focus your resources like an absolute laser beam. And so take the opportunity to think about and get as specific as possible. David Toulis talks about his listener. Why does he talk about a listener? Because he has in mind a very particular person who listens to this show and who he's talking to. And so then he knows exactly how he wants to speak to his listener. And you're going to do the exact same thing with your side hustle, with your website, with your marketing, what your voice is. It's going to determine every step you take. So niche that sucker down. This is Kevin Cherrick on the David Toulis Show, 92.7 from Infinite Closet. That's my idea. That's my little side hustle. Micro storage on demand. We're delivering and storing and picking up boxes to apartment dwellers in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Our number is 800-8949. And I've determined that what I want, my why, my personal why, that's going to dictate the decisions I make for my side hustle are, I want freedom, I want a 6-figure income, I want control over my life, and that's it. I don't need to make $1 million a year. I'm not going to make decisions that will minimize my opportunity to develop that lifestyle that I want, because I think that's what I have to do to hit $1 million a year or $100 million business or whatever it is. And what that does is it frees me up to be able to filter the information I get when I see everybody talking about you have to raise VC, you have to borrow money, you have to be spending so much resources at such a level because it's running, it's all happening. And I say, no. If somebody takes this idea and they develop Atlanta and Phoenix and New York City, that's great. I can accomplish all of my goals in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So that's where I'm going to be focused. And what I need to do is not blow up, right? Make sure we're profitable from day one, which we are. And that's going to dictate the decisions because I want to actually maximize my minimum lifestyle. If I get the private jet down the road, it's probably just going to screw up my kids. This is the David Toulis Show. Sean Hannity is up next. My name is Kevin Cherrick. I'm talking about side hustles with you. My side hustle is Infinite Closet. It's micro storage on demand. You can check it out at myinfinitecloset.com. Give me some advice because I know that there are places on my side hustle that I can improve. You're always in that humility learning stage when you are developing your side hustle. That's what makes it so exciting. That's what gives you the sense of hope as I continue to just increase things little by little. This is a compound effect. You're going to continue to make small positive improvements day after day after day. And one day you wake up and people go, how did you develop such a monster business? Listening to the David Tulis Show on 92.7. Sean Hannity's up next, guys. Thanks so much.